Guys, Sniper's TRISzY here, back with another video, and today I'm going to be doing my NFL Week 11 predictions. I do know that the Packers and Seahawks already played, but I did also make a prediction for before that game, what I thought the score and who was going to win from that game. So let's start off with Packers Seahawks. We all know that the Seahawks defeated the Packers 27-24 two nights ago. And really a classic matchup. I did like how the defenses played. Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson, though, are just two amazing quarterbacks. And they put on a show. I did like the Packers in this one, 34-28. And yes, I know how ridiculous that sounds. But I'm not 100% buying into both defenses yet, because I don't think they're good enough to be elite at a level with Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson. So I did think the Packers were going to win 34-28, but they lost 27-24. So that's already 0 for 1. Titans versus Colts. I think this is going to be a pretty big divisional matchup. The Titans trying to establish themselves as true AFC contenders. The Colts trying to prove that they can be pretty good next year, because I think this year is already over for the Colts. But if they go on a run, who knows? They could make the playoffs. For this game, I do have the Titans winning 24-14. I just don't see. The Tennessee defense has been really good this year. I don't see the Colts with basically Andrew Luck, T.Y. Hilton, and Eric Ebron. And that's it on their offense, beating this Titans defense. I do like the Titans defense this week against Andrew Luck. Next up, the Buccaneers versus Giants. I think this is an upset. Don't watch this game, please. It's going to be terrible. And it's going to be a blowout. I think the Giants are going to take this game 38-24. If you have not watched the Buccaneers, their defense has been so fucking atrocious. But the Giants' defense has been okay. That's going to give the Giants the win. I think Eli Manning can easily torch this defense. And he's probably going to put up a high number of points. I choose 38 because I like to exaggerate. I do want the Giants to win this game, and that's why I probably gave Eli Manning this many points. But, yeah. Next up, one of my favorite games this week, the Jaguars versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the matchup between Josh Lambo and TJ Watt is going to be big, just because field goals, I think, for the Jags are going to be a big priority. If Josh Lambo can kick them, then they'll be good. But if and the Steelers' big priority for me this week is going to be defense. TJ Watt is my favorite player on that defense, and I think if he can pick it up, the Steelers could win. But I also think if Josh Lambo and Blake Bortles can really start to go into their form last year, or not even Josh Lambo. Josh Lambo just needs to do solid. Blake Bortles to go into his form last year for them to win this game, and I do see that happening. 28-25. I think the Jags get back on track this game. It's a hard schedule. I don't know if they'll be able to make the playoffs, but I think if Bortles keeps playing okay, at least good football, this team can go somewhere. And a lot of people are going to be surprised on how much I buy into the Jaguars. I think they're an amazing team. I think this year was just, they were a little cocky. I think they'll be back on track next year, though. The Lions versus Panthers. Don't watch the game. 38-14. There's no way that Cam Newton does not pass for at least 4 TDs in this game, if not more. There's no way Christian McCaffrey does not run for 2 to 3 touchdowns this game, if not more. There's no way the Lions get 20 points. It's just simple. Panthers are a playoff team. The Lions are not. The Panthers have an explosive offense. The Lions do not. The Panthers have a pretty good defense. The Lions do not. Another one of my favorite games this week is the Falcons versus the Cowboys. I love both of these teams. I think both of them deserve a spot in the playoffs. I've been liking what Dak's done this season. Put aside the first 3 games, Dak's been really good. He's been efficient. And in fantasy, he's putting up, I believe it's 16 to 17 points per week. That's a good quarterback right there. That's a solid quarterback that the Cowboys can fly with in the future, especially because he's doing this without many wide receivers around him. I do think he has to stop getting in his head and trying to do everything for the team in, one play. But, yeah, if he can do that, then this Cowboys team is probably going to be a 10-6 team, 11-5 team in the future. As for the Falcons, this is a great team, great organization. Matty Ice, just an amazing quarterback, phenomenal. Julio Jones, probably one of the best wide receivers in the league. Devontae Freeman, I know he's not playing, but he's a great running back. Tevin Coleman is a solid backup, though. Coaching staff, I really like Matt Quinn. I think that's his name. I might be wrong. I might have to look that up. I like Matt Bryant. Dan Quinn, my bad. I do like Dan Quinn and the coaching staff. I think this is going to be mainly a match between Dak Prescott and Matty Ice. Who can do better? And I think the Matty Ice is going to prevail. 24-21. It's a good game. I'm probably going to watch it. I'm not sure. But, yeah. On to the next one, which is the Ravens versus Bengals. Great game. This is going to be big. I think this is one of the biggest games this week, if not the biggest. One of these teams, I think, is making the playoffs. Whoever wins this game is making the playoffs. Whoever loses this game is going to finish third in the division. Whoever wins this game is going to finish second. Steelers are going to finish first. Browns are going to finish last. Amazing game. Joe Flacco versus Andy Dalton. That's a classic. The Bengals versus Ravens as a whole. 2 division rivals that both had amazing starts to the season, but have slowed down, and this is the match that is going to be huge. That's a classic. I like the Bengals in this matchup, 21-17. It's going to be a very rough physical fight, but I think the Bengals prevail. I do like the Bengals. I hope they can get a playoff win this season. Next up, the Texans versus the Redskins. What can I say? These two teams have almost flipped scripts. I mean, at the start of the year, the Redskins were amazing, and the Texans sucked. If I would have told you this game was going to be between 2 teams fighting to make the playoffs, I would have called you nuts. I would have said the Texans probably have 7 wins by now, and the Redskins have 2. Right now, I think the Redskins have 6 wins, and the Texans have 6 as well. Very physical matchup. I think it's going to come down to the quarterback position, and Deshaun Watson's a hell of a lot better than Alex Smith. So 17-10. The defenses are going to be the main key in this match, and Texans D is much better than the Redskins D. I think both teams can score. I don't think the Texans are going to score that much because the Texans, it's pretty well set. Raiders versus Cardinals. Prepare yourselves for a tank bowl. I'm just kidding. This is a tank bowl, though. In the words of Urinating Tree, both teams are trash, and the loser comes out on top. I think this is going to be a matchup between which quarterback can sling the ball better. Derek Carr or Josh Rosen. Which defense can play better? Cardinals or the Raiders. And finally, who's going to have the most game-changing plays? Cardinals or the Raiders? I think the Raiders win the tank bowl and the Cardinals come out on top. 28-7. Raiders are trash. Josh Rosen is going to have a career night, possibly. And the Cardinals will probably pick up their third win of the season. Denver versus, fourth win, I believe. Third or fourth. Sorry I don't pay so much attention to the terrible Cardinals team. Anyways, Broncos versus Chargers. If you have this game as a must-watch, you must check yourself. I mean, this is a terrible game. At the beginning of the year, I would have said this is a pretty good game. I thought the Broncos would go somewhere along the lines of 8-8, and the Chargers somewhere along the lines of 7-9. However, now I have this game as a match of one 4-12, 5-11 team, probably 5-11, and one 11-5 team. The Chargers are obviously going to win this match. If you don't think so, then you're a moron. 24-7. Easy money for the Chargers. Yes, I am aware they're in Los Angeles. I love that picture, though. This is my Sunday game of the week. Eagles versus Saints. This is going to be an amazing matchup. I mean, Drew Brees versus Carson Wentz. What can get better? Honestly. We're going to have Alshon Jeffrey and Nelson Aguilar and Zach Ertz versus Michael Thomas and the guys around him. We're going to have a surprisingly good Saints defense this year versus a surprisingly worse than we thought Eagles defense, but it's not bad, let's be honest. Probably around 17, 15 in the league. The Saints D also around 15. This is an amazing matchup. I do think, though, there's one key factor for me. Who's more desperate? The Eagles are very desperate for a win, and last I checked, they're on a winning streak. Be sure to fact-check me on that. I'm not entirely sure. But I do think they've gotten a couple wins up in a row. So I think the Eagles are a team to watch out for. They might win the division just because of how weak it is. Right now I have the Redskins winning the division, but you know, anything can happen in the NFL. 38-34, Eagles get the victory. Sunday Night Football. This is, I know I said this a lot in this video, a classic. Vikings versus Bears. Khalil Mack versus the Vikings' explosive offense. The Vikings' explosive defense versus the Bears' explosive offense. Yeah, not much to be said about this one. I have the Vikings winning. I just don't think the Bears can play with the big boys. I mean, they've beaten some pretty shit teams to get to where they are. And they're only like 5-4, so they're not that great of a team. The Vikings, though, have played some pretty tough teams, and they're 5-3-1. So, yeah, the Vikings are probably going to win this match. I think this might be my lock of the week. I'm not sure, but yeah. This is the game of the week. This is the game of the year. Fuck it, Super Bowl matchup. Chiefs versus Rams. Everyone wanted to see this since the beginning of the year. I predicted these teams at the beginning of the year being two of the best teams, and I had Rams-Chiefs Super Bowl. And look how it's turned out. Rams-Chiefs probably the two most explosive teams in the league, two best teams in the league. The Chiefs surprisingly good defense this year versus the Rams good defense. I mean, we all knew they were going to be number one, I think. The Rams number one offense versus the Chiefs surprising number two offense. Who's going to prevail? Is it going to be the Kansas City Kid or the LA Dynasty? Greatest Show on Turf versus Part 2. And I think in the game of the week, the Rams get this 45-42 on a last-minute interception that is going to be caught by Marcus Williams. I forgot his name now. Not Marcus Williams. One of the corners. Akeem Talib. No. I think it's going to be ended on a game-saving pick for the Rams, and they're going to get the dub 45-42. These offenses are just so explosive, and I don't think the Rams are going to lose this game. This is my lock of the week. Just because I don't think the Chiefs can compete with the Rams just yet. Get 1 or 2 more weapons and probably. My player of the week is going to be Eli Manning. The Bucs defense sucks. I mean, he's going to put up amazing numbers. That's all I have for this video. I hope you guys enjoy. Be sure to leave a like. Comment what you guys think the outcome of this week is going to bring for us. And I'll see y'all in the next